Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Temperance Tarot, doing days 15 through 21 of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. Let's just jump in with day 15, which the question for day 15 was your view on the tarot court. Is the tarot outdated, not needed, etc.? I'm assuming she means the tarot court. Is the tarot court not needed or outdated? And I love the court cards. I think they challenge me in a way that some of the other cards don't. I can absolutely see that. See, here we have the Ellis deck, and they go with the traditional names like King, Page, Queen, and Knight. And yes, we don't have those so much today, especially in America. But I don't get that hung up on the terms of what they're called. To me, they're really aspects of my own personality. Because I'm not reading for other people yet, and even when I do read for other people, I don't know that I'll be a predictive reader. I don't see them as outside influences or people. I see them as pieces of my own personality. And it takes all of the court cards to make up a well-rounded person with their positive aspects and with their flaws. So I really see the court cards as a way to look at your own personality, or look at my own personality, and look at it from both sides, because all of the court cards have both a positive aspect and a shadow side to them. And I've been watching some other people's videos, and a lot of people are focusing on the shadow side. And I'm just not that kind of person. I don't focus on the shadow side. I focus on the positive. What can the King of Rods bring to my life? Not what can he take away from it. But at the same time, like this Page of Swords, he's fantastic. He's really, really cool. He's examining things carefully, looking at things, learning new things. But at the same time, you see down here, there's blood on his sword. He's made a few mistakes. So I really love for myself readings to incorporate all aspects of a court card into my reading when it comes up. The only problem I have with the court cards is, say I'm doing a 3-card reading. If I get nothing but court cards, then I do tend to go, what am I supposed to do with this? But anyway, this is the Ellis deck. These two are the Ellis deck. I love those. And here we have the Japari. I don't know how to pronounce that, so forgive me. And they've still got some of the cards that have queens and kings, but they have some of them that they've renamed. Like that Stranger of Gardens is the Knight of Pentacles, I believe. And that gives me something different to work with. And then over here, these 3 cards are from the Animal Wisdom, I believe. Yeah, the Animal Wisdom Tarot. And they go completely off of the King, Queen, Page, Knight to Seers and Seekers and Guardians. And I really love that. That just brings a whole, again, another aspect to it. And it doesn't put that hierarchy into it that you seem to have with the King, Knight, Page, Queen, that some people find a little bit difficult or outdated. And then over here, we've got the Tarot of Transformation. And again, it kind of strips away the hierarchy and just puts a focus. So the Master of Cups is like the King of Cups. And the Healer of Swords, I believe, is the Queen of Swords. So just, I love the court cards. And I'm done talking about the court cards. So there you go. My current tarot crush, no surprises here, Dreams of Gaia. I want to reach for it every single time I do a reading for myself, and I'm trying not to, simply because I want to use some of my other decks. My other tarot crush, let me move these out of the way. My other tarot crush is something that is brand new and I just got. And I know it's one of those decks that nobody likes, and because it's not gonna be a tarot deck. This is gonna be another learning deck for me, a study deck. And it's kind of like the Mythic Tarot and the Lover's Path Tarot. I'm going to learn tarot, but I'm going to learn something else too. And look at this. This is out of print, but it's still easily available cheaply on eBay. This is published by Llewellyn, the Shakespeare Oracle. It is really a tarot. And I don't know why Llewellyn doesn't make more sets like this, but it's supposed to look like wood. It feels like wood. It's a hard box. It comes with a great guidebook that talks, face it, most of what I'm going to learn here is about Shakespeare, but my Shakespeare is lacking, so I could stand to use learn a little bit more about Shakespeare. And the cards are simply beautiful. They look like they were painted at the time. They have the major arcana are all illustrated with a character from a Shakespearean play or something like that, and the title card, or a person, because this is actually Shakespeare himself. And some of them are like the world is the Globe Theater. Let's see, it's in here somewhere. Well, let's see, the world is the Globe Theater. So they're big. Their cardstock is fabulous. It's not shiny at all. It's very matte and beautiful. The pips are the problem, and I understand that. They are just pip cards. I don't even know that they're Marseille, they follow the Marseille tradition. I think they're just pips. They have a quote on them from a play or a sonnet or something like that sort of goes with the theme of that card. And I think that's what I'm really excited to play with and learn about, is taking the quote and putting it into the context of the tarot, taking the character and putting it into the context of the tarot, because apparently I'm not very good at doing that on my own. So I need a little bit of help. So I think this is going to be a fun study deck. I don't know that I'll ever use it to actually, do a reading, but it'll be fun for study. Tarot journal. Show a few pages of my tarot journal. That was day 17. I have 3 journals, basically. I have this little inexpensive Amazon. It's supposed to be like a traveler journal, but it's not. But what it is it's ring binders. I like ring binders because if you mess up or if you want to rearrange things, you can take them out and move them around. But this is basically my little white book. And I go through and I have taken it's not the pocket, I think it's the miniature Rider-Waite. I cut the borders off and then I just stuck the cards onto the page. And then when I come across an interesting interpretation of that card or gain an insight to that card that I want to specifically keep separate and just for that card, then I put it in this little book. And that's all that I have in this little book. You can see I do have dividers. The majors don't have a divider, but red for wands, blue for cups, yellow for swords, and green for pentacles. And I haven't worked in this one in a while. I come and go from it because I don't actually use it to refer to when I'm doing a reading. What I do is again, it's a study tool. It's when I write things down longhand, I am more likely to remember them or to have them sink into my psyche in some way. So it's really more about me writing down thoughts about each of these individual cards so that they kind of stick in my consciousness. And you can see some of them have very little and some of them have a lot. Yeah. That is my little white book. Then I have a journal. I wouldn't consider this a journal, really. It's a notebook where I keep things that I printed off the internet about spreads and things, and any card exercises and spreads that I have found interesting or helpful, with just like I was compiling my own reference book. And I do refer to this one periodically if I'm looking for a spread or something to do with the cards that I might have seen before. And if I try, if I find it on like social media, to write down where it came from, but I haven't been really good about that, I have to admit. And then there is my everyday journal. And this is where I write my musings and things about the cards that I pull and the spreads that I'm doing. And one thing that I love is I love to get a sketchbook for this because the paper's better. You have bigger sheets of paper. They're not lined, which means that I can, do things kind of outside of the box. It takes me 9 months to fill one up because I can put so much stuff in them, even with the blank space occasionally. And every now and then you'll find a doodle. You'll find the spread layout, the questions. You know, here I am figuring out numbers. Yeah, there was my 2017 numerology, the Hanged Man. So yeah, that is what my journal looks like. Nothing interesting. I'm very southern. I'm fixing to be done with this one. I think I've got 3 or 4 pages left in it, and I'm going to start up a new one. And in my new one, I've got some images and things that I want to paste in there just to make it a little bit more interesting. So planning to do that. The next question, how do I pick, this is day 18, how do I pick decks for readings? And since, again, I'm only reading for myself now, it's just what's my question and what deck is calling me that day. So it's nothing out there. Nothing exceedingly interesting. The next question is tarot rituals before, during, and after for day 19. That, I don't do a whole lot of ritual. I'm not a witchy woo-woo person. I think it's fun, but basically I just don't have time for it. If I really want to get a good reading, though, I do need to sit and breathe and then quiet my mind. And I do like incense. I love incense. So if I have the time, I'll burn incense. And then I just, shuffle and draw the cards. I left one out there. I think I put the wrong cards in the wrong box. Oh, no. So that is my tarot ritual. Day 20, favorite pop culture tarot representation in a movie or TV show. Most of the movies and TV shows where you find tarot cards, they're kind of supernatural and that sort of thing. And I enjoy those shows too. But my very favorite instance of seeing tarot in a TV show was where you don't expect it. And that was in, I think it was episode 1, season 5 of Bones, which Bones is a procedural. It's about forensic anthropology. It's about catching criminals. And they introduced a character at the beginning of that season called Avalon, who did a tarot card reading. And she used the standard, I think it was the Universal Rider-Waite Smith, the one colored by Mary Hanson Roberts. She was pulling cards, and they did, the thing I loved about the way they represented it was that they did not make fun of her. They did not dismiss her really as, well, the main character, Temperance Brennan, who's a scientist, obviously said this is nonsense. But the show as a whole went on to actually show that her tarot reading was correct. And through the years, they have brought Avalon back a few times, and they have never discredited her. So if you watch Bones, look out for, I think it's season 5, episode 1, where where Avalon, who's played by Cyndi Lauper, fantastically by Cyndi Lauper, is doing a tarot reading for Temperance Brennan, and you see the cards and you hear her interpretation of the cards, and it's really cool. And then the last question for this week's video is, do you read your little white books, tarot and oracle guidebooks? How do you use them? What do you do when the information seems to contradict the reading? I absolutely read all of my books. I read all my little white books. I read my big books. I generally read them separate from doing readings, though. I'll read them to gain the information. But then when I'm actually doing my readings, unless I'm really stumped, I don't pull out the books. I use them for study and for practice, but if it's a real reading, I tend to rely on my intuition and only pull out the books if I'm stumped. So I really don't have an issue with them contradicting my reading, because at the time I'm doing the reading, I'm not looking at the book. Unless I'm stumped, in which case, if I'm absolutely stumped and I say, I just need to look at the book and see what it says, then that's telling me that my intuition is telling me to go with what's in the book. So there you go. Days 15 through 21 of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.